Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to another episode of Island Tea with your faves, Kevon and Azem. Mine is Jade Granny Johnson.
Jade, not there, but morning.
Well, it is Thursday, July 15th, and the time is 8:11 a.m.
Kevon, how you doing this morning?
Yes.
I get you. I totally get you. But I don't know.
The best answer I could give.
It seems as though the AC is grieving the fact that Jade isn't here and just making the place warm.
Okay.
Yeah, just making
Yeah,
the
so
place
Jade, well, I personally think Jade did it. She sabotaged the AC before she knew she wasn't gonna come in.
warm. Bro, you might
You
actually
know?
be onto something here. You may be onto something. Nah, man. Main thing she that petty. You think she that petty?
Yes.
How you doing though?
I'm okay. I have life. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm okay. I hear thinking no, I because what I'm doing right now as you ask me that I'm thinking about what my day looks like. It's gonna be a long one. Nothing really difficult, but just a lot going on.
Yeah.
Going on. This happened to me pretty recently. You ever been in two Zoom meetings at once and trying to contribute to both?
No, because I usually don't like being in Zoom meetings.
I don't either, but that happened to me
So
recently.
I usually mute myself. If I can, I turn the camera off and then I go lie down.
For one of them, that was okay, but I had to tune in from time to time because it was obvious that I would have to actually like contribute at some point, but it wasn't like a set time. So it was like just we're gonna introduce you, and then you just have to turn on your camera and wave.
Okay, so you just had to wait.
So I just had to wave, but I had to be ready for the introduction so that it's in like time for whatever, and then you just like sleeping. It wouldn't be cool, like, especially if I turn on my camera and like in my boxer and like shirtless. Like that really the vibe I think the meeting was going for.
Right.
So
You know what I've been meaning to do?
that's
I've been
what I
meaning
would
to
have loved to
pre-record
do.
myself for about an hour, just sit in and just put that on play so I could go lie down.
That actually sound. What you need to. Okay, this is what you do. One of the meetings where you actually have to be on camera, you just record that, and then you just have that for use, like in future instances. Just
There we go.
record yourself with very like intentive.
Yeah, just
looking and shaking your head from time to time. Yes, and wow.
Let's just hope that they don't say, "Oh, let's pause to write some notes," and I'm there like,
At that point, you just have to have that body that can message you and be like, yo, change the video.
well, what I actually do is I keep my AirPods in while I'm lying down so I can actively listen. So if there is something happening, I usually just dash back to the chair and turn my camera back on.
Yeah, that works. That usually worked for me until I tried to listen to
Until I fall asleep.
Well, yeah, until I tried to listen to two at the same time, and then it was complete and utter chaos. But I think I managed it as well as could be expected given the circumstances. Oh boy, nobody had to like call me and be like, "Boy," so no. And you know what? It was easier because apart from that one moment when I had to turn on my camera and wave, I didn't actually have to have on my camera at any other point, so it was okay.
It's a plus. There you go.
And then you have this side WhatsApp groups that have to do with the what going on in the Zoom. So I'm like in two simultaneous WhatsApp groups talking about the two Zooms that I'm in. Like yeah, bye. It was
Nope.
yeah, bye. But thank God I made it.
You have life.
I have life. It's horrible.
Oh boy. But it is Thursday, and we all know what that means because it's time to grind some gears.
Grind gears. Like recently Jade has been the one who's been coming in here and just on a ranting spree.
I have a gear to grind.
Ooh, I love it. All right.
Actually, have a gear to grind. So, and it's funny because we kind of just talked about some aspect of it, but what I was talking to my friends about last night, it's something, this work from home model has benefited so many people. Productivity has skyrocketed, people are getting work done much faster. They are able to, not only are businesses able to save on expenses, like, they don't have to purchase these copious amounts of office supplies and have AC running all day and lights on all day. But the workers themselves, they get to stay at home. They get to, work from the comfort of their home. They have to save on some money as well because, they can get up and make some food. They have to buy lunch. Right, so everybody's kind of winning here, even, down to the financial aspect of it. But what we were saying that we don't like is that some companies think that the work from home model and the new introduction of Zoom as a meeting place has made some companies think that employees are accessible 24/7.
Oh, yes. I've witnessed this.
So, a lot of people have been, a lot of workspaces have been doing group chats and Zoom meetings and certain things to communicate. And what a lot of people are now complaining about is that beyond work hours, they're getting work texts and emails and asking if you could jump on a Zoom for 5 minutes at 7 p.m. And people are saying it's great. Like, the work from home thing is great, but employees seem to have erased boundaries, and there seems to be no boundaries, I think that sucks, to be honest, because what employee wants to, some do, but what employee wants to work all the time, every time?
Yeah, that's definitely an issue that I've been seeing. The other thing that I've been realizing as well is just how constant the stream of communication is, even during normal working hours. So yeah. It's like you get a call to say that I'm going to send you an email. Then you get a call to say that I have sent you an email. Then you get a call to ask, have you responded to the email? If I responded to the email, it would have been in your email. I don't need to call you to tell you that that I have responded and I have seen your email. Yeah.
It's overbearing, and it's kind of
all the time
become like a micromanagement. It's become like micromanagement at this point because, like you said, people are calling you to tell you if they're doing things. And I understood at the beginning the purpose of that because the work from home is you're expecting that people they won't be in front of their computers all day every day just sitting. So the purpose of it originally was to just make sure that people are working in sync. So you're not sitting there waiting for me all day. Right. So, you're not sitting behind your computer all day. So when I send an email, I just send you a message, hey, sent you something, just so you have the prompt to get up and go check or deal with it. So something is there. However, it has become like this, like you said, this constant stream of communication that just seems to never end.
It's like, you're communicating so much that I can't get the work done.
Right. And I've done some work with MCLA, Massachusetts College of Liberal Arts in the US. And at some point I had to draw the line because I don't know if people are familiar with this platform called Slack. Slack is like this, supposed to be like a workspace, like a collaboration space where
I had a whole different idea about what that meant.
It's like a group chat for like workspaces. So you could send email links, you could send email. It's just very intuitive. It integrates like Google Drive and a lot of other platforms. However, it's also super confusing. And my app was just going off all the time. Somebody answering this hour, somebody answering that hour. Then I get a call, hey Kevon, yeah, I know it's late, but I just sent something. Can you review it quickly? At some point I had to just stop answering. Yeah. And then in the morning, I would wake up and I would state, hi, I had my phone off at this time. I'm now seeing your messages. I will get to them now. Because I sent a clear message saying I am not on my phone or my devices for work after this time. So if you need me prior to that, reach me prior to that. Don't wait until after. Because I just feel like, and I know it's not easy for some people to just draw a line, because some people can't really draw the line, but I think it's unfair for businesses to now consume people's personal lives just to be on standby for work.
Yeah, I think and I know people who have purposefully objected to receiving a work phone because that had a similar effect where I give you a phone, so now I could reach. I'm supposed to be able to just talk to you anytime. You know, that kind of way. Like you're now you're accessible 24/7. No, there's some jobs where that is necessary, but there's also a lot of them where it's definitely just overbearing. So I definitely get where you're coming from. But I think we really started to navigate this new space, and the people who seem to be the most like just overbearing are the employers that perhaps had not been very tech savvy to begin with. So and they're the ones who are just like all concerned that things are still going to happen in a similar fashion, or that the productivity will remain at a level that's acceptable while people are at home, and so they get very they micromanage, like they micromanage so much that the work don't actually get done.
Right, and I think what happens too is that now everybody has gotten into this habit of having meetings for everything.
The meeting to plan the next meeting for the next meeting.
Right, and that's the thing. So everything becomes a meeting, and I think it is now as productive as the work from home model was in the beginning. I think it is now almost counterproductive because I've also heard a lot like this. As I said, we were talking about this last night in a friend group, and a lot of my friends were complaining that they can't get work done because they're in meetings all day asking for the work they can't get done because they're in meetings all day. Yep. And you know, people and the thing is too, everything is, can you jump on a Zoom call? And you know, there's something not done. Hi Kevon, are you available? Can you jump on a Zoom call for 5 minutes? That 5-minute Zoom call turns into 45 minutes, which consumes 45 minutes of productivity. Then you have a meeting scheduled in the next 5 minutes, so you have to get ready for that. Then when you're done with that meeting, somebody from that meeting wants to talk to you because now you have to jump on a meeting with them. And it's just this non-stop meeting. And I think, honestly, and I know this is a giant joke, that it could be an email, but truly it can be an email.
It can be an email.
Like, a lot of these things that people are scheduling meetings for could simply be an email.
You know, this is something that I have experienced in other areas of life, and like now it's happening in business. Like it's probably even more annoying when you grant people accessibility. They go overboard.
Yeah, way overboard.
When you grant people accessibility, they go way overboard. Like, you know, them friends are them people who you ain't gotta be a friend. Sometimes you just give somebody a number for this one thing, and like the one thing is over, but then they just like keep going. One of the big pet peeves of mine with that is broadcast.
Blocked.
Broadcast. There needs to be, you know how email has like like spam.
Broadcast.
They need to invent a broadcast spam, like blocker. They need to invent a broadcast spam blocker, because like, bro, like if I were to take the time. Well, it don't really happen now because, as you say, I either kindly message people and ask them to take me off the broadcast list, or
I'll block you.
So it don't happen so much. But I remember at one point I had to stop and was like, if I am to take the time to actually offer up all these prayers that I get in the morning, I wouldn't be able to get my day started until like maybe 10:30.
Yeah, it's like
how much prayer you want me to pray? Like, like how many quotes can I read? Who am I, Confucius?
Like, my thing is, especially in the morning, I have to instantly become productive, because I'm that person that when my alarm goes off and I don't budge, I will not move. So when my alarm goes off, I have to get up and get things going.
You have to get going,
one
yeah.
time.
Yeah,
So I have to literally get up. I have to make breakfast, make some coffee, go jump in the shower. Something needs to start happening. But if you want me to sit down there and type you a prayer or some affirmation for the day,
affirmation for the day. I love it.
I don't know what kind of time y'all have, but I don't. I don't have the time to do that. That's very time consuming, and I just don't have the time for it.
Yeah,
I don't know. But like I said, I block. And I will tell you first. You send a few, you send one, I ignore. You send the next one, I ignore. Because the thing is to be fair, I have to gauge your frequency.
Yep.
Because if you send me one broadcast, me abuse you off. Because it's one. So you send another one with the next day. Okay. You send another one the next day. Now it's like, You send another one the next day. To me, now I'm noticing a pattern that is a frequent thing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to message you and I'm going to ask you, hey, can you please take me off your broadcast list?
The thing for me with that, right, Kevon?
Okay. But you're going to tell me, okay, you ain't going to listen to me. And you're going to do it again. So then I can block you.
The thing about it for me, right, is the people, when you're asked to be taken off the broadcast list, that seem to, like, have an issue.
They just catch offense. Yeah, they just be offended.
It's like, how many, like, you had this one lady. The lady would forward me, those broadcasts that they really geared to a certain age range, so they always look like the front of a funeral like flyer, like with the rose vines up on the top, and then it's like a couple quotes and thing. So she send those to me daily, right? And like I know there are people that really enjoy getting those, like especially some older people at home, they just learn to use WhatsApp, love it. So I messaged the lady and was like, hey, you message me these daily. If possible, you could take me off your broadcast list. I said, that probably not young people, young people. I was like, what? What?
To be asked to be removed.
I said, okay, cool, no problem. Block. If you need me, call me.
Yeah, like, and then they also have like the joke committee, which I don't subscribe to. Like, my thing is, if that is what you are into, go have at it. But what I'm saying to you is, I'm letting you know I don't want to participate. I think it's fair for you to not force me into participation by sending me them all. And then I know people just be like, oh, you could just delete them when you get them if you don't like them. But how about I just don't have to do that if you just don't send them? Because if I'm getting a bunch of important messages throughout the morning, or I'm waiting for a message and my message buzz to see some rose picture, I could have done without that. So my thing is, just opt out. Just opt me out of it. I'm opting out of it. Can you opt me out?
Yeah.
And then, like I said, the joke committee, the ones that is just forward these funny jokes that aren't really funny, like the corniest jokes. And then, for me, it's just like I'm busy. I don't have time to read this, and I know I'm not going to read it later. So just opt me out.
I think the moral of the story here is people need to set boundaries and respect boundaries. You know what I mean? Like, set boundaries and respect boundaries. I think people just have this increased level of accessibility and they take advantage of it and they pretty much overuse it. So please respect people's boundaries. Yeah. Yes, I know you get up at 5 in the morning, but that don't mean you have to start messaging everybody at 5 in the morning. You don't know how many relationships you have ruined because you're early bird.
Yeah, just not.
They'll be messaging you every morning 5 o'clock.
And then what you gonna tell? You gonna lie and say, "Oh, it's me auntie sending me my daily prayer."
Your auntie is your auntie. Show me your phone. Well, that's a whole other problem there now. But
I just think, like Azem said, we need to draw boundaries and we need to respect boundaries. If somebody asks you to opt out of something, just opt out. Like, I don't know how the broadcasting works, but I'm assuming you have to check some names or something.
Yep.
Just go into whatever it is and uncheck them. I don't know. I could be wrong. I've never sent a broadcast before. I don't know how it works. But just opt them out. And then for the employers as well, stop hounding your employees and
Allow
forcing
them
them
to
to be
work,
at the
yeah.
desk. Right, let them work. I don't think you are allowing them to work, and by checking on them to see if they're working, you are making them not work, because they have to pause their work and stop their productivity to jump on a meeting with you to discuss work. Like, I know this is new to a lot of people, and truthfully, to the older generation, this introduction of technologies could be overwhelming. Truthfully, because I've even found myself with new technology, I'm just kind of like, nope, I can't do this. But
Yeah.
take it one step at a time, and not because you're overwhelmed means you need to overwhelm somebody else in the process.
Yeah. I agree. I had a get to grind, but I don't even know if I want to grind it now.
Oh yes, we do.
No, I will just, as a matter of fact, I won't grind it to death. I'll just mention it, and then we could get on with the rest of the tea. But and this has been a big pet peeve of mine for some years.
Mm-hmm.
For some years, right? What's the obsession? I don't know if this is something that happens like in just based on, what should I call it? If it's like a culture thing or a slang thing or whatever, and it just kind of like permeates the lexicon or whatever. Cause I know like in some islands ago, especially in the VI and in like Anguilla, and the bands would always be like, yo, PVI, yo, jam band. Like it's like a thing they say. We don't really say like yo, Small Axe band, like yo, New Vibes. Like we don't really say that. But I realize in some of the other islands, like that's a thing. Why politicians, well, particularly prime ministers, like to just continually say my government, my government, my government, my government. Like it's just that it's only me that does bother by it.
No, it bothers me too, because at the end of it, every time I hear it, I have to ask, whose government is it?
That just make me so uncomfortable, man.
Is it the government for the people, the people's government, or is it yours?
Isn't it not the government of St. Christopher Nevis?
Right. I could hear.
But it's your Labour government, your Unity government.
You know,
like it's just either just
it's
be
cringe.
like, by they make me cringe by every time, and it's like, and because it's like a thing, like it happens over and over and over and over and over.
Even it even bleeds into
My
like personal
government.
conversations,
My-
because people are gonna say your government, and like now it's just like there's ownership.
Yeah.
Like who the government belong to, like this war over who the government. Oh, are you government and you government and my government?
Yeah, but again,
Who's-
even that I think stems from the top, right? I like, and I keep wondering where this thing come from. Like, this is a thing. Like, is this a thing all over? Like, this is a thing all over, isn't it? Yes, because I do hear other leaders in some of the other islands say it. I don't ever really remember hearing it so much in speeches from like presidents of some of the larger countries. But definitely Caribbean leaders don't do that. They're straight by like my government,
Yeah,
my government did this, my government will. Like yeah, it's a lot of my government. It's not even your
I feel
government.
like-
That's the thing. Like in the thing with the ban situation that I mentioned, they say your, so they'll be like your PVI, your Exodus ban. Like you know they say your, but
It's the
here it's like
people's,
my.
you know.
Yeah,
And
especially situations where
if y'all don't know how to do this whole, if y'all don't know how to address the government, I think you can just simply say the government.
yeah,
That works too.
That works too.
I mean,
But yeah, but anyway, I ain't gonna beat that horse to death.
we're gonna stick a pin in it for next
Yeah,
week.
as a matter, I would like to know if that's something that other people does like witness, because I don't feel like somebody messaging me and tell me that they hate it too. So I am not alone. We are not alone, Kevon. We are not
Yeah,
alone.
I see somebody saying it bothers them, and yeah.
Yeah. Let's fix it. We don't need Jesus for this one. We can just fix it.
Well, Witty upset. Witty's on the train where we need to set boundaries for work. So
Oh, yeah, Witty was on that.
agreed.
Witty was on that. But yeah, let's move after that before I start sweating in the AC. Witty tell me, Witty was questioning whether or not I'm going to menopause yesterday.
I tell you, Jade sabotaged you, right?
Jade sabotaging my entire life.
Well, so let's jump into some updates. Peter, hee
hee, not shishi. As a matter of fact, we should probably take our own advice and be like, tea time, wee wee.
Wee wee. Oh boy. So let's give you your vaccination update, which we haven't done in a while because we were giving you some numbers, some COVID numbers versus vaccine numbers. So let's do that. So the total doses administered between the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis stands at 42,345. Doses administered in Nevis, 9,709. Doses administered in St. Kitts, 32,636. So again, because I don't know who's tuning in for the first time, tuning in for the last time, tuning in for 5 seconds.
Clarify.
These numbers include the jab. This is the jab number, which means each person has to receive 2 doses to be fully vaccinated. If you are only at your first dose, you have contributed 1 number to this count. If you have received your second dose, you have contributed 2 to this count. Which is why, because some people, what I saw is people dividing that number in 2 and saying, well, that doesn't make no sense. Can't do it like that. This is the amount of doses administered. Okay. So, total number of vaccinated persons in the country, 19,165. Your percentage, the target population is at 33,037 persons. Of that target population, 70.2% of them have received their first dose, 58.0% of them have received their second dose. So,
yeah, I think that's important.
More than half. Yeah.
Well,
what?
Well, as a matter, I saw some people like posting up when we hit that 70% mark. Started posting up and was like, yeah, we reached, and I was like, no, we reached 70% of the target. So the 100% would signify the 70% of the population that we need to achieve the herd immunity. That would trigger something that we don't actually know. But
so 58, more than half of the target population has been fully vaccinated. And I think we really need to pay attention to the words here. And I think when we doing little WhatsApp forwards and broadcasts, we need to make sure we include certain words. This is the target population we are talking about. They have already cut, so there's a cake, and they say 70% of this cake needs to be eaten. They have already cut out the 30% and removed it since it's not going to be a factor. So
gotta eat the rest of the cake.
We're just working with the 70% of the cake that remains. So, okay, great. If you don't understand, ask somebody.
Yeah.
If they don't seem to understand, ask somebody else. You can also ask your healthcare providers if you have one.
You could just do like Rihanna said and just live your life.
Or you could just do your part and
just live your life. Just live your life.
Right?
Once you take your job, if you take your job, whatever it is, just do your part and because like I said, when we hit the 70%, Kevon, what can we expect? Hey, I love it. It's important. It's important that we get there. Don't get me wrong, but I'm really just trying to get some clarification on what is it that what changes we can expect.
Yeah, and yesterday we talked about the whole phased phased reopening of the Cayman Islands, and they have posted, a plan, a little roadmap of what the phases look like. We saw a lot of other Caribbean islands interacting with that, and saying, why is my country not doing this? Why is why am I not seeing what the Cayman can see? Where's people want to see? Imagine you are told to start on the main road of, start in Bastille, start running along the main road. Don't worry about where the finish line is, you'll get to it. Right. With that much motivation, because who knows, you might run around the island 6 times before you find it. Or would you be more comfortable knowing that the finish line is in Sandy Point, so at least you have an idea of where you're going?
I think that even I think we recognize it too, in a certain extent, because we have done it with the vaccine rollout, right? So we know this is the number that we're targeting, and so people know that there's a target, and people understand that they have an active part to play in achieving the target, right? However, it's still limited, because even in that case, we like I was just saying, we still don't know exactly what that's going to trigger when we get there. If it isn't going to trigger anything, then fine. But I mean, we could also express that and just say that, hey, it's important that we get here for such and such reasons, and pretty much that's it. Right?
Yeah, like let people know what they're working towards. Don't just tell them work. When people know what they're working towards, whether it's like as I'm saying, whether it's something that's going to trigger something else, or just that we need to work to this. Let us know that is exactly what's happening, because I think we're gonna get much better results. Let me rephrase. The likelihood of getting better results is higher if people know what they're working towards.
Bro, what you're talking about is buy-in. I think what we need from the population is buy-in. We understand that a lot of people have, we understand that we do have personal responsibility, right? A lot of what happens now is going to be directly dependent on the actions of the population. Like, how do we operate? How do we think? And so what I think could aid in people fully getting on board with what they have to do as an individual is things that foster that buy-in. And so clear goals, clear pathways, even clear incentives and clear rewards for the behavior that we want to see. I think that would definitely assist in people. You feel like you're saying, like, we on this. You almost feel like instead of us running a race, we're on a treadmill.
Yeah, then you just don't know when to. They're gonna tell you stop whenever they're ready.
I feel like you're on a
people
treadmill.
don't know how to pace. People don't know how to
running.
pace themselves. People don't know how much energy to exert. There's so many factors when you don't give people a goal.
Yeah, and I think what we've seen as well, even with the vaccine program, because that's one of the programs that we have going on now, is that we recognize that we see jumps in the people going out to vaccinate based on something other happens. So it's like XYZ triggers XYZ, right? And so it could work in that way, but it could also work the other way, where we don't have to be reactionary, right? We could preempt some of this stuff, because people understand that, hey, this is what is happening, blah blah blah. For instance, the tourism industry would have set certain dates and times and certain guidelines, because they would have recognized this is what we want the tourism product to look like, and we know we have to put these things in place and such and such and such and such. And so they started months ago saying by July 1st you gotta be vaccinated, blah 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 blah, whatever. But that's only for that one program, right? Which they were pushing, the vaccination thing. But I think on a more national macro level, like understanding, like I saying, what the nation wants, what we want the nation to look like this time next year or eventually, and then see how we can safely navigate until we get there, and again faster buy-in from the population, because really and truly, as much as the politicians say XYZ and this is what we want and blah 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 blah, blah, still come down to the people. Yeah.
And I think it's fair to say that the roadmap doesn't have to only outline what we're going to get, but it can also outline what we're not going to get, which is what we saw in the Cayman Islands phase report, that tourism is going to be, reconsidered opening, we're going to practice certain things, this is what's going to happen. And they also clearly stated cruise tourism is not happening still, because I think they did a great job in including that, because when people think tourism, they think cruise ships, airports, cruise ship and airport traffic. And I think stating that cruise tourism is not resuming was such a great job, because it lets people know what not to expect.
Right. That
way you don't randomly get this disappointment when the phase 3 start happening and people flying in with the cruise ships. You instantly let people know this is not happening, so don't expect it.
Right.
When we get and the thing is too, what they also did was tell you it's not going to happen and then told you when it's going to be considered.
Right.
So that gives people an idea. Okay, so it's not happening anytime soon. But when they get to January, they start thinking about how they're going to navigate that.
Right.
But
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean,
and the thing is,
we'll
right. Somebody asked me by text just now. They said, "But what are we talking about?" Because we know what we get into, which is the 70% of the vaccination.
Kevon, you just literally disappear. You just disappear. Oh, 1 second. Got you. But yeah, I think that I think it's kind of interesting to see where we're gonna end up. I mean, there's some people that really don't have a lot of faith in the 70% number. Kind of feeling that based on a lot of things, even sometimes based on the health situation, the transmissibility of the virus and things like that, like the 70% really won't get us to the place we want to be. And so it might trigger a discussion of like, hey guys, we really thought such and such, but because of these factors, we're now realizing that it might be 85% that we need to get to. Like, I could, if that is to be said, like in a national address, right, I could just hear the entire nation bawl out, what? You'll be able to stay in your house, hear your neighbor, hear the neighbor down the street, and the people from all the other villages just bawl out, what? Oh boy. We're getting some calls, guys, so we're gonna take one of these calls. Caller, good morning, you're live on Island T. What's up? Last one. Let's see if we get this caller. Caller, good morning, you're live on Island T.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yes. Well, first of all, with reference to just the start of the program, I think it was Kevon who said that it is a fact that the working from home model has resulted in increased productivity. Is the jury out on that? Has productivity actually skyrocketed?
Well,
because that may be true in some types of businesses where they have sophisticated metrics and performance is measurable. But is that how most businesses are organized? Is it really practical to transport every workstation to your bedroom or a stool at a factory to the home? How do you have quality control? How do you deal with the logistics of the supply chain?
Well, I think that for a lot of the businesses, like you're saying, like working from home is not even an option. For instance, like you're saying, a lot of manufacturing jobs and stuff like that, like working from home is not an option. So I think it kind of, like you're saying, depends on the type of business and does it lend itself to that type of model. I think some businesses would lend itself more than others.
Well, the thing is, though, before we are tempted to make this model the future, we perhaps need to look at the fact that even before this, productivity has been increasing. It has been increasing for years, much of it due to technology and the fact that people work more hours. And is that something that is desirable? Because health suffers and relationships suffers, a lot of things suffer. We have been unable to pass on these productivity gains to a shorter working week, for instance. And the same thing may happen with the new working from home model. I mean, wouldn't it be better to have goals like a 4-day work week with full employment as opposed to a 7-day work week with high productivity and higher unemployment? Okay?
Yeah.
So I think those are things that need to be looked at. And your piece on the Cayman Islands was how they were approaching reopening was very instructive. Basically, it showed how sharing information, sharing objectives, sharing triggers, that's how you get buy-in. Okay? When we look at St. Lucia, they actually have had to, I saw a piece there where they have actually they've had to cancel flights because the hotel rooms are filled. Imagine that. It's strange in this type of environment. And I think that is because they have learned to live with COVID. Okay? They had some of the most unenviable figures in COVID, but yet they have learned to live with it. I think we are still in living without COVID mode. Okay? And I think we might have overemphasized the vaccinations part of it and seen that as the primary goal, okay, not looking further into the future. Okay, and we may have to address this, okay, because, I mean, we have had some of the best numbers in terms of vaccinations, yet we're going to have to be playing catch up to other countries that don't. So there's something kind of wrong with that picture. Okay? All right.
Do you think? Yeah. All right. Go ahead. Yeah, man. Yeah, I understand what you're saying in terms of the situation that we're in and how some of the other islands have been dealing with this with it. I think it's interesting to look at what the evolution has been in terms of a lot of these countries dealing with COVID. Everybody kind of had a different journey. You'd have had some countries that are now seemingly, like you said, have learned to live with COVID. But really, when I look back at how they got to that point, it was, to be honest, out of necessity in a lot of cases. They weren't in a position where they were able to keep their borders open. You had some countries who had begun to pay civil servants, in some cases, 50% of their salary. And so they were basically forced to say, hey, we can't afford this. No, we may have been in a position where we were able to stay closed a bit longer. We were able to provide some level of stimulus and support for persons most hit. And so now we're in a different position in the journey than others. So I think it's interesting to note exactly how countries have gotten to where they are, and there's so many different case studies. I think it's wise to really pull from the experiences of some of these countries in order to inform our position, but also, like I'm saying, I think it needs to be towards a clear goal. It can't be we want to look like St. Lucia. It can't be we want to look like Antigua. It can't be we want to look like Atlanta. It's going to have to be this is what we want to look like. This is the society that we want to foster. And so this is how we get there given our present situation, financial constraints, social constraints. This is how we recognize we are going to get there. At this point, this regional response and something coordinated that they are done out the window, that ship done sail it down. And so countries are going to have to figure out exactly what it is they want to have coming out of this thing. Do we want to have a two-tier society where some people enjoy certain privileges where others don't? Are we going to have a situation where, for the foreseeable future, you can't walk around without a mask, right? Is it like, and these are serious things. Do we want to have a situation where, for the foreseeable future, persons can't gather in mass? So how do we have to answer these questions, and then we have to decide, well, we might not be able to get there right off the bat, but based on all the information we have, this is a path, and this is the path that we are going to walk on. And I think that information needs to be made public. And like we've been saying, that is how you get buy-in from the public. That is how you get people to really to work towards something when they know what the something is. Kevon.
Yes.
Hi, sir.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Oh, well, welcome back to me.
Oh boy, that man said I got the ISIS internet by. I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, we've been having some interesting conversation about where we at as a nation and how we move forward. And I think this all fosters into conversations that we've been having so much. And one of the things that I'm hoping really comes out of this pandemic, a situation where government entities, government departments, government ministries are able to share information much more seamlessly. I think that's how we're going to build models going forward. And I do believe that we could have some mechanisms that are triggered by similar things. So we could have some mechanisms that are triggered, for instance, by natural disasters. And so that allow perhaps the Port Authority and SCASPO to communicate directly with the police, to communicate directly with trade, with sustainable development, based on the fact that there's a hurricane, whatever, this is what we have to do. The information might not necessarily be needed by all these departments under regular circumstances, but in irregular circumstances, like, it would be necessary. Being able to coordinate, for instance, imports, how ships are coming in, with, for instance, supermarkets needing to open to restock, and being able to facilitate that with brokers, facilitate that with consumer affairs, all of these different things. So making these connections, I think that's one thing that we need to really foster out of this. Even given a health pandemic like this, and if we feel this is the last one, I think that is the height of hubris and ignorance. But yeah, I think, for instance, being able to collate information between the travelers coming in and their health records, we're trying to do it now in this kind of weird way where it's like show them manila paper with a stamp on it, and that's supposed to mean something. Like, being able to have the information that you could then build models from, because like we talked about it yesterday, the difference between data and information. If it's one thing that's different between this pandemic than any of the other pandemics that like really just cripple the world, is that we have an abundance of information that we could then use.
We have data, we have information, we have so much.
There's so much. Everybody's walking around with a phone. Everybody's sharing. Everybody. We know what apps people. We know what people are searching for. We know what people like. We have to find a way to use this data now, collate it in a informative way, and then build models out of that, so that we're able to move forward in a more responsive way going forward, right? So I'm really hoping that's something that is being thought about now, something that we're really looking at, and then being able to transpose what we're doing because of the health pandemic into other areas. Like I was saying, natural disasters, for instance, hurricane, earthquake, tsunamis, all these things. The financial market. Where are we having problems? Where are we having bottlenecks? Can we find ways to facilitate that in the future, so we don't have those same issues? I think that will go a long way. And again, it might come down to having some entities that get enacted once certain things come in place. So, for instance, governments have known for a long time that, hey, under extreme circumstances, we need to empower leaders to be able to make certain decisions, and decision makers to be able to do things in a way that, is quicker, easier, whatever. We have things like state of emergency then. So if we recognize that, then we need to also recognize that what that might mean is that we also need some departments that function under certain situations, certain extreme circumstances, and those departments, those ministries, whatever, come into play, and then they're able to foster and link between departments that generally may not link in the same way, because we recognize now we have a model that we need to use to move forward in the response going forward.
Right. No. I just, and I shared with you guys yesterday that
you're getting a puppy? Oh no, it wasn't that.
If I had the puppy, you'd see it like here on my head during the life. But I shared with you guys, even down to the Caribbean citizens are trying to get this thing happening. You see, people are making mock-up of, the COVID, the vaccine cards to travel with, something digital, something scannable, something that has a database. And a lot of people are complaining and saying, yeah, our governments are giving us these manila paper cards, but what's the validity behind that? I mean, I could go print a manila paper card in my house and do it too. I mean, we need more. We need something that shows that we have the same access to technology as everybody else. And the thing is, we have people that can do it. We have people that can code apps. We have people that can make programs. We have people that are doing it and showing it to people who need to see it and are being told, okay, yeah, look great. We look into it, and then we see, an order come through,
bro,
for 5 million. Bro, for 5 million vanilla cards.
In the and this is a gear that I should have gone earlier. Why they got to take up all of the vaccine cards from all health centers and send them to wherever to get stamped and signed? Like, isn't there a head at all of the health centers?
My thing
is it a problem that it is a matter that they don't know how to have information sent from one health center to the next one?
By what? By bus or carrier pigeon? Because what database is there to use for them to transmit information without a bus or a carrier pigeon?
Yeah, I mean,
and my thing is,
you gotta wait 3 weeks. You gotta wait 3 weeks to get back your vaccination
which is ridiculous.
Card. Sometimes a month.
I think what doesn't make sense to me is I hear a lot of arguments. We can't do the electronic thing because they have people there who don't know how to use it. They don't know how to use it because you're not teaching them. They don't have the opportunity to use it. Duh.
But not only that, bro. Not only that, maybe that highlights the need for us to have IT personnel at some of these institutions.
Right, because my whole thing is...
You have a database specialist at the health center.
They have IT specialists anyway working there.
Bro, you need to be an IT specialist. You could just be a nurse who also has computer science. You could also be a nurse who did IT in high school.
We need to move into it. And the excuse, a lot of people are using this older generation thing as an excuse. Older generation will learn if that is what they have to use to do their job.
Yeah.
It's going to be frustrating at first. Anywhere you work, you go to a bank to be a teller, you don't know how to use the teller program from high school.
Right.
It is taught when you got the job.
Right.
When you go to do some other job that requires a computer, if you go to a doctor's office, the secretary don't know how to use a booking program because she probably didn't learn it in high school. You learn it when you get the job.
Yeah.
And that is what the training period of a job is for.
A lot of companies
if you introduce these databases in these companies and entities, people will learn. You give them the chance to learn and test it out. And I just think it's a ridiculous excuse and it needs to stop, because my whole thing is, not only are we burning resources by doing this, but we are keeping ourselves back, because People have to wait weeks and months to get paperwork. Somebody have to go here to pay this, or we ain't get no paperwork from this department yet, so we can't process your. I mean,
yeah. I might be actually asking too much for this whole data sharing and using that data to then create models that we move. I might, like, if we can't even get this right there, I might be asking a bit too much. But again, like I'm saying, you know what does happen? Instead of finding excuses for not doing things, I think we're able to make those excuses because it's just something that somebody come up and make a suggestion and say, hey, it would be cool if y'all do this and so. And so you just find excuses not to do it because it might be expensive in the beginning. It might require some effort. It might require some hard conversations. No, but again, if we look at what is it we want to see, like how do we want our health system to function? What does that look like from an administrative point? Then we start to put things in place to get to the goal. But Kevon, I think we're gonna have to take a short break and be right back with more Island Tea right here with Media SKN. Stick and stay, not gonna away.
Run to Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store now and get a chance to win free groceries for 1 year. By popular demand, Cashback is back, but this time Cashback is back with more quality appliances, more great prices and fantastic deals, more of Hosford's fabulous FlexPay payment plan, and more free groceries. A whole year of free groceries. Come to Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store today and get absolutely free groceries with every higher purchase and a chance to win free groceries for 1 year. Great deals on furniture and appliances. Get cash back for free groceries with FlexPay higher purchase and a chance to win free groceries for 1 year with every $500 spent. All great reasons to shop at Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store this coupon season. Terms and conditions apply. See stores for details.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Welcome back to Island Tea with your faves, Kevon and Azem, minus Jade, Gwen, Gwyneth, Gwenisha, Crass and Crude, DJ Crash Johnson.
DJ Crass.
See, she ain't even here and she getting shit before shout out.
Yeah. Some people are just unappreciative by. But what you know? Oh boy.
Well,
what's a docket?
Have no fear, for we are here.
What's a docket?
What's a what?
A docket.
I have no idea.
I was about to say what's next on the docket, Master of Ceremonies, but I didn't know if that was the right term to use there. Is it?
I suppose so. It sounds like it fit.
Sound right? But we're going with it. This Island Tea, we do what
we want. So, next on the docket, I know we are all tired of COVID. However, let me clarify some crap COVID stuff for you. So, the CMO has clarified what the 3-day quarantine procedure is. As announced by the... Oh, it's empty time? I did already. Okay. As announced previously by the Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Timothy Harris, quarantine for fully vaccinated inbound travelers is now set at 3 full days at a government-approved facility. On the morning of the 4th day, a person in quarantine would be subjected to an exit RT-PCR test, which is what the CMO, Dr. Hazel Laws, stated when asked to clarify the new quarantine procedure. She said that fully vaccinated inbound travelers who landed in the Federation on July 12th or beyond will now qualify for a reduction in the period of quarantine from 9 days to 3 full days. I want to explain that their exit tests, their nasopharyngeal swab, no swab, for the COVID-19 test will be taken on the morning of day 4, and the sample will be processed. And then they will be officially released from quarantine when that COVID test result is returned negative. She further explained that the tests would typically return by the night of day 4. So, technically, you're in quarantine for 4 days. Long story short.
And so said the Duke.
So, you are tested. You spend 3 full days in quarantine. On your 4th day, in the morning, you are tested. By night, you are given your result, and you are free to go if you have a negative result. So, I know everybody is saying, oh, 3 days, count for 4. Because your 4th day is your trial day.
You will be on the docket.
It's your hearing.
You will be on the docket. You will be on the docket.
Your 4th day is your hearing day, and you'll be on the docket to find out if you are released. But she also said that, she also made the remarks during the July 13th broadcast of Leadership Matters. But however, that may soon change, and inbound nationals or residents may be allowed to spend the quarantine period at home. Okay? In the following 2 weeks or a month, persons can be allowed to quarantine at home without having to pay for the security facility. That is the intention. We are also considering utilizing a mobile application and tracking devices as well. So,
bro,
things are happening.
Things are happening.
So.
I mean, but the bigger question for me with all of this. Let me not say the bigger question, but one question that has really come to mind when we're talking about all these things, is just be like, how much of us is going to be recorded and tracked in these databases? Like, again, nobody does want to say where the lines to be in these things, but it is what it is. Geopositioning, guys. Geopositioning. They got to put on your them people on the house arrest, they got to put on the digital bracelet. Yeah, you don't feel like that there. You don't feel like that. But I'm getting the feeling that there's a lot of people that support it. So which is usually the case when there's fear involved. Like, people don't care about nothing else. Like, by anything I do, you're right. But you're right. But yeah, I do believe we're going to see some sort of geopositioning coming into play if that's the case.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we already being tracked. Like Gavin is saying, we already being tracked anyway. So
yeah, that ain't really the excuse for me.
Yeah, same thing.
Again, it's kind of like people who don't run away regularly, but then complain when we are locked down and ask them why, because I don't have a choice. And the thing is, okay, I walk around with my phone. The thing is, Nevis government ain't tracking me. They can't even digitize the vaccination card. They ain't tracking me. So like, people like to say like, oh, we already being tracked, we have GPS on our phone or whatever, but who tracking you? Who watching the information there? It don't matter to them. People they'll collect everything, but they'll only look at what's important to them based on whatever. So my thing is, when do we like, how do we know when what is going to become important and what they're using it for?
Yeah.
Suppose they decide, okay, let's put it this way. Suppose they decide if you have committed any crime that for either period of time, even up to the rest of your life, you have to be geotagged. So this person get caught stealing. This person get caught stealing 3 times. You now have to wear a geotag. So every time you're going to a supermarket, there's a notice that goes to the manager's office saying one of them in here.
Wow.
But
wow.
Yeah, but you see, these things ain't far fetched. Like, especially given what we're seeing. Especially given what we see now. And to be honest, I believe if that was to be suggested, there'd be a lot of people who'd be like, yes.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Let me know where they be, so we can find them.
Oh boy.
Wow.
But anyway,
it's a lot to wrap your mind around. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on. Yeah.
Some updates for Nevis. So the new solid waste management ordinance on Nevis to bring sweeping changes.
Oh, what a play on words.
What, right?
What a play on words.
The public on Nevis can expect some changes when the Nevis Solid Waste Management Authority Bill 2021 takes effect shortly. The bill, which repeals and replaces the 19-year-old existing Nevis Solid Waste Management Authority Ordinance Cap 3.03 legislation, was passed at a sitting of the Nevis Island Assembly on July 13th, 2021. It addresses issues including the unauthorized disposal of solid waste, the prohibition of the importation of waste, the appointment of litter wardens, and the management of vacant land.
Ooh, that's the one.
That last one.
Yes,
Yeah. The Honorable Hazel Brandy Williams, Junior Minister of Health, who tabled the bill, noted that under Section 28 of Part 1V, Waste Management Licenses and Permits, dealing with the unauthorized disposal of solid waste, no one should deposit or knowingly cause to be deposited solid waste in or on any wasteland, beach, foreshore, marine waters, rivers, or riverbanks. The grammar in these things will just be so.
The mystic thing for me is the fact that we have to put these things into line in the first place, but we do.
Right?
But we do.
Any person who contravenes in Section 28 should be liable
Hanged?
upon summary conviction. Ooh, no.
Oh.
If the person liable is an individual, they will be subjected to a fine of not less than $25,000, but not exceeding $50,000, or imprisonment for a term of not less than 6 months, but not exceeding 2 years, or both.
Light work. I was thinking they'll lose 2 fingers or something.
Work. If the offender is a company, it will face a fine not less than $250,000, but it will not exceed $400,000, or imprisonment for a term not less than 2 years, but not exceeding 4 years, or both.
So if it's a company,
who they going for lockup? That's my question.
The dumper? Is there a dumpy? But there's a dumper.
I could say the fine for the company being fined, but my thing is, who gets arrested?
Whoever the company sent.
Because what if my boss tell me dump on the beach, or else I get fired, and I dump on the beach? Do I get locked up, or does the who give the instruction get locked up? Or are they gonna hire a lockable person?
Yeah, I don't. Probably whoever the truck driver is, and whoever was in the truck. But you know, one of the things that I'm really hoping to see come on stream, like, yeah, these things are important as well, but one of the things that has been on my mind a lot lately has been how we deal with sewage, especially industrial waste. I think a lot of it just ends up in the sea right now.
Yeah,
a lot of it just ends up in the sea. So hopefully we start seeing some legislation to address that.
So the bill goes on to address certain things. It talks about derelict vehicles, dumping of like white waste. That's what Miss Lake was calling it. Like fridges and stoves and stuff.
White goods, yeah, white goods.
White goods. Talks about all of those, but I think what we want to see here is the land one, which I have. So under section 52, which deals with the cleanliness of vacant land, according to subsection 1, any person who owns or is in charge of vacant land shall keep that land clean and free of overgrown grass, bush, or trees, and shall not allow that land to be used as a place for dumping of litter. A litter warden, according to... One moment.
Yeah, so one of the things that's interesting to me when a lot of these situations with these vacant lands is I'm wondering when, and I think it's going to be soon, are we going to be seeing governments putting things in place where they take over stewardship or ownership of these vacant lots and vacant lands. We have a lot of situations where people leave the country, perhaps the family members leave, they're not planning to come back. Some cases where there's death, and so we have a lot of these vacant lots and abandoned homes in some of these communities. I know in some countries, after a certain time, the government kind of takes ownership and stewardship of this situation, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens where that is concerned. So hopefully not too much longer we could get some clarity on what the direction is with that, at least what they're thinking about, because trust me, they're thinking about it. I saw some people were trying to get in, call in. We'll give you opportunity now to do so. So those of you who have been trying to get in, feel free to ring the phone lines now and have a conversation about anything that we've been discussing right here on Island T. I'm actually looking at our esteemed guest getting set up, and so we'll be moving quickly into that after these calls. Caller, good morning. You're live on Island T. What's up? Good morning, caller. You there?
Good morning.
Morning.
To you, gentlemen. And what happened to the lady today?
She just wasn't able to come in today, but she should be back with us tomorrow.
All right. She's missing.
Yeah.
Missing. I was listening to you when you were speaking about the 3-day quarantine. And I keep wondering every time I hear it as to why they're calling it a 3-day quarantine. Because as outlined and clarified by the CMO, it literally takes you into 5 days.
Yeah, well, it can. I think what they're saying is that it's you're on quarantine for 3 days and then you get tested. So that's kind of why it goes that way. You might end up staying, like you said, 5 days, but there's a chance that especially on volume, depending on volume at the labs, that you would actually get out on that 4th day, that afternoon. I think that's what they're aiming for exactly. Actually, for you to be able to leave on the 4th day. So it wouldn't be actually 4 days quarantined. It'd actually be 3 days and then you leave on the 4th day.
That's important, though, huh? That people understand that.
Yeah, for sure.
Just imagine the anxiety of coming in. You're anxious to get home. You're anxious to get this part of your travel settled and move on. And then you're in a place for 3 days, and you're expecting to get out 3 days if it's not been clarified. And here you are now in the morning of the 4th, still waiting for somebody to come and take a test.
Yeah.
And then the night of the 4th, or possibly the morning of the 5th, you're still waiting for the results before you can actually physically leave. So I think that's really important that that's clarified, and perhaps we not say it's 3 days.
Yeah. All right, thank you. I think what's important with that situation is the fact that, or understanding the fact that right now travel is a very involved process. It's such an involved process. Like you have to take tests, coordinate at the right time. You have to take time and really understand exactly what's going on, because you have to take your test at a certain time. You have to upload it online. You have to send emails. You have all these things you need to do. I mean, at the end of the day, just like travel was prior to the quarantine, you're responsible for really understanding the process. Like if you end up at the airport to go to America without a visa, I don't think the argument is going to be, well, I didn't quite understand it from y'all. I think the onus is on you. If you're traveling to a country, guys, ask any question, ask all the question, anything you could think, anything you could imagine. Make sure you ask. Sometimes even simple, not having paperwork. Sometimes you go to certain countries and they want to see nothing on your phone, They want you to print it out and show them. Otherwise, you end up in a glass box somewhere on the side. So, yeah, for all those of you who are traveling, not only coming into St. Kitts but going to other places, please recognize that travel has evolved. It is way more involved, and you have a responsibility to find out all the information necessary before you get to your destination. We have another caller on the line. Caller, good morning. You're live on Island T. What's up?
Yeah, good morning. How are you?
Doing well, man. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good.
Nice.
Concerning the question the previous caller called, the lady that just asked that question about the 3-day quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
What about how long it takes to get the results back from the rapid test? Are they using those rapid tests at all?
They're not using the rapid test as yet, and we've spoken here about hoping that becomes implemented in the entire response. But no, these tests are the PCR. The PCR test is the ones that they're given to people that are in quarantine.
But then in any event, can you clarify how much time it takes between the test that they're using now and the rapid test? And if the rapid test
is instant,
So the rapid test,
so why don't they employ the rapid test to test those people who's going to be coming back? That's going to only take 3 days in the quarantine. I mean, why are they not going to use those rapid tests then?
I think the science suggests that the PCR test is perhaps a bit more accurate,
more sound.
Yeah, so that's why they're using that for that particular purpose. However, we have been suggesting that rapid tests can be included in different parts of the process, even if not at that particular instance.
So it appears to me that persons are going to be frustrated when they come in, because undoubtedly they're going to probably have an influx of nationals, especially who has been trying to get back to Nevis, and St. Kitts, who didn't really come as yet because of the length of the quarantine. So now that the quarantine is shortened up for 3 days, they might have a lot of people who's going to be interested in coming home more now. So they should expect an influx of maybe nationals coming back, who's probably wanted to take a break from this pandemic over this 1.5 year period. But anyway, on a different note, is there any way you can maybe say something towards that more when I get off? But on a different note, concerning the land, the vacant lands and stuff, what I observed in St. Kitts and Nevis, there's a lot of lands that's there in dispute. A lot of families got disputes over land and property and stuff like that. And the judicial system is corrupted. The judicial system is backlogged. They take too long to bring some of these cases forward and to get some of these situations solved. And the government should be looking towards that, because there's a lot of properties that's just sitting there with being in disputes, number one. And number two, the owners of some of these lands, that doesn't really have documentation. And then so if someone is interested in buying some land from somebody, a local who has land available, but they don't have paperwork and stuff like that, then it creates like a, you know what I'm saying, a different situation. Because they have lands there in Nevis and stuff that's just sitting there. But like me, I was interested in getting some land from somebody, but they don't have the paperwork organized. The government should be trying to get the court system cleared up with some of these disputes, and they should move the people towards getting the land situation in paperwork. The government should encourage the locals to get their paperwork established on their land ownership. And then so that way, in case somebody wants to sell a property, they have everything in place. But that's my contribution, man. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say, you know, but that's my contribution for now.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I think that is going to be interesting. I think that's going to be interesting. I think one of the situations that we have in here is a lot of these things, a lot of these properties are years and years either in dispute or the persons would have left for years and years, and you can't really identify. It's difficult to identify, ownership, or even being able to get in touch with some of the previous owners or the families of the owners. Some of them really have no interest in coming back to the country. And so we're going to have to devise a way to deal with that problem. And I do believe it's a problem for so many different reasons. A health problem, it's a matter of security. In a lot of cases, a lot of these communities, these abandoned houses are used to commit crimes or even hide contraband.
To facilitate,
crime in some way. So we and just it's an ISO. Like it's an ISO, ain't no good.
And I'm interested to see how they're gonna handle this too, because like you said, there's some people who don't want to come back to handle their land. There are also some, and we have to consider this too. There are plots of land, properties that are tied up in legal battles, whether it's family fighting over who gets it or spouses separating, and nobody wants to touch it because then, I don't want to spend money on something you're going to go with. So how does that get handled, It's interesting.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. But Kevon, we end now. We're gonna take a short break. We're gonna be right back because we have in studio, as we said yesterday, a very special guest in studio here with us. He's here waiting patiently, so we're gonna be right back with more Island Tea right here on WINNMedia SKN. Guys, as I said just now, we're gonna need this break, right? Don't go away. We're gonna be right back.
I have a surprise for mosquito, roach and flies. Pop makes all of them die. Don't bother with the long chat, Pop tell you why. Pop makes all of them die. To take care of my premises, I have to stand guard. Pop kill insects, small or large. When me use my yard, me no need no bodyguard. Pop takes care of roach in a house and yard. Surprise for mosquito, roach and flies. Pop makes all of them die. Don't bother with the long chat, Pop tell you why. Get serious, get Bop.
Like us on Facebook, www.facebook.com/ramsupermarket. Follow us on Twitter, www.twitter.com/ramsupermarket. And subscribe to us on YouTube, www.youtube.com/ramsupermarket.
Staying healthy has taken on a whole new meaning these days. So we ask, why do you put your health first?
As a business professional, I need to make the most out of my work days.
I'm a teacher, and I want to be there for my students.
In sports, I have to be in top form for my team.
Motherhood, I just got to keep up with my kids. Because my patients rely on me to be at my best.
Staying healthy is important for many of us, and Hanley Orange makes it easy. Just one 1,000 milligram tablet of vitamin C gives your immune system a flavorful boost, leaving you protected and feeling good for the day ahead. Hanley Orange Vitamin C. Just pop the cap, drop it in water, let it fizz, and enjoy. Part of the Hanley Orange family.
Well, Welcome back to Island Tea with your faves, Kevon and Azem, featuring Jade, Gwen Johnson, who's not here. But it is time to jump into Eat Local with Mr. Luther Kelly. Welcome and good morning.
Good morning.
How are we doing today?
I must say, Kevon, this is a real pleasure for me to have Mr. Kelly here in the studio with us today. As a bit of a sports fan myself, I consider this man a bit of a icon and a legend. So really appreciate you taking the time to come in and speak with us this morning, man.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for the invitation.
For sure. But some people who may be listening and watching, who for some reason may not know exactly who Mr. Luther Kelly is. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Okay, my name is Alfred Luther Kelly. I'm from McKnight, Shaw Avenue to be exact. I represented St. Kitts in 5 different sports, with majoring in cricket, as that's the farthest I reached.
But 5 different sports, though?
Yes, 5 different
You've
sports.
represented St. Kitts in 5 different disciplines?
Yes, yes.
What are the 5 disciplines? Because some people ain't even got more than 5 sports, yeah?
Cricket, football, basketball, volleyball, and athletic sports.
Wow. And what was your discipline in athletics?
Athletics, I did pole vault and high jump and 100 meters.
Wow, people ain't even know. People ain't even know we used to do pole vault here, you know. And them times there, I'm pretty sure you was pole vaulting into a sandpit.
Yeah. Just put sand in the pit.
Wow. So it's in my mind, your name is synonymous with St. Kitts sports, right?
Yes.
And you said you grew up in McKnight, Shaw Avenue to be exact. How did that in any way shape your love for athletics? So where did this love for athletics and sporting come into play?
Well, I moved from Shaw Avenue in 1963 and went to live in Greenlands. And the guys, being lovers of sports, we really formed a little club that participated in all kind of sports. We had an area at close to the gut. That's Westbourne Gut.
Right.
We used to do our athletics stuff there, high jump, pole vault, and just straight running. I was fortunate to be representing St. Kitts in athletics in the first Leeward Island, the first organized Leeward Island track and field meet.
Oh, wow.
I don't remember what year it was, but I participated in high jump and the pole vault.
Okay.
Arthur Jeff was a basketball player too, one of the icons from, well, you could say from the Greenlands area, from where we used to do our little thing.
And that's Arthur Jeffers, who is now involved in metalwork.
Metalwork,
Right.
Yeah, he won the record for pole vault. He came first. We did the same height, but I unfortunately knocked down one more time than him, so he had to hold the record.
Mm-hmm.
And with the high jump, I came first and I had the record. But that thing never stayed long. It didn't continue until sometime later. But
so you guys, you mentioned that you were representing St. Kitts at the first Leeward, in those two events.
Yeah.
But your introduction into sports, like, so you had the sports club, but were you competing in school? Like, what these competitions that would have even been happening, so you would be selected for that? Is it something that was happening in school at the time? What was the school at the time?
Yeah, we used to do our athletics at the Bastille Grammar School.
At the grammar school, right?
Yeah, that's where most of the events used to be held. And then for national championships, we go down to Warner Park.
Right. Okay. So it seems to me like your first instance of national representation when was it this Leeward Islands track meet?
No.
So even before that?
Before that, in 1974, I started representing St. Kitts in cricket. And 75 in football.
Okay. So, but let's take a dive deeper into cricket, because I think a lot of people know you
from cricket.
And did you start playing cricket at the same time when you moved to Greenlands, or was this something always that you had been involved in?
Well, I've been involved in playing cricket. We used to call it rubber ball cricket. Where you get a bicycle tube and you strip up the and you put it in a maca seed or tongue up a can, make a round ball.
Wow.
And we play cricket with that. And it was a big competition in those days. We used to have Greenlands, Forest Village, Commonwealth at the village, the gardens. You know, it used to be a good competition, and we used to play at the old grammar school pasture, that is the Dr. William Connor School ground now.
Oh, okay, right.
We used to have the big competition there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is literally rubber ball cricket?
Yes.
Wow.
I didn't start playing red ball or white ball cricket until 1974, when I made the transition to park rats. I remember the reason why I got into park rats was at a picnic over at Frigate Bay. Len Harris, the former cricketer, and some elderly men was playing cricket at Frigate Bay. And because I loved the game, I went and I just joined in. I was feeling and taking catches and so on, and I realized that persons were getting to bat twice before I could bat once. So I asked Mr. Harris if I can bat too.
Right.
And Mr. Harris mentioned to the guys, the little boy feeling all the time, and he ain't just feeling, he taking catches too.
Right.
He ain't gonna last long. So let him bat. And that was the mistake they made. They allowed me to bat, and it was a long time before they get me out. And then when I out, Mr. Harris asked me where's my father. And he took me to where my father was, up on the tamarind tree. You know, those days they had the picnics and food there. And he mentioned to my father, if I come home from school late and say that I was playing cricket, don't beat him. He got somewhere to go in cricket.
Wow.
And having heard that, I felt so good that I had started to stay over at the park, that I'm always going to boys' school. Stay at the park after school and play cricket. And then in the evening, when it's kind of dusting in, I have to go Buckley's up by Miss Wrigley at Mattingly Heights now.
Right.
To look after my father's cattle. So it was just like training all day.
Right.
Just running and playing and training.
So up until this fateful cricket match on Frigate Bay one afternoon at a picnic, you had not really been looking at cricket, let's say, as a career, something that you would go further on? It was just you just had a love and passion for the game.
And that was just a passion. I was not able to make the basketball school team because we had other players, including Victor Eddy and Sherlon Williams and Jumbies, Winston Williams,
right,
Val Payne and Spencer Clark. Those guys were playing the game because they were with Park Rats. And then after I joined them, I made a big claim in there. And they encouraged me to come and play for a renowned cricket club. That's the same club that Harris was mentoring.
Right.
And I made the trials that same year, but I didn't make the national team.
Right.
And the next year, I made the national team 1975. And from then, I represented St. Kitts until 1990.
Wow. So from 1970, what was it,
1975.
Wow.
I made the Leeward Islands team 1976. I went to Dominica for the trials to play for the Combine Islands. I was not successful until 1980 to make the Combine Islands team, but I was a regular every year for the trials.
Right, but so this I'm listening to you talk, and there's a couple of things that standing out to me. One, it seems as though your real cricketing career, joining Park Rats, you said, and renowned cricket club, you had to be a very young lad at the time.
Yeah, I was going by school.
So you were still a school boy?
I was going to basketball school.
Okay.
I went to senior school. I was about 68, 69. And then I was not able to make the school teams all the way. But in cricket, but in football,
for sure,
I was the number one goalkeeper for the schools. And then later, when I started to play the football for the National League, I joined Battle Rivals.
Where were they from?
They were from Great Gamestown, Newtown, across King Street area.
Okay.
We had Mr. Carl Berger, may his soul rest in peace. He used to be the coach, and that's where I got my real love for training from. We were the first team to really introduce fitness in football. That we had Santos, who was the only rival. When I say the real rival,
right.
we had to beat Santos in order for us to be recognized.
Right.
And we did so for a few years. We even got banned that time.
Because they were winning too much?
No, I wouldn't say because we were winning too much, but the Santos didn't come to play a knockout game. And they said that the game would have to be replayed. And we decided we're not going to replay it just so. They have to have a playoff.
Right.
And they organized the match still and we didn't go. We didn't show. And they banned the whole team.
Oh, wow.
But fortunately for me, I joined the police force in 1975. And I used to play for Superstars at that time. That's really Superstars. And after they had banned Rivals, Mr. Euclid Hanley, he's a guy from Nevis who had the food shop in Central Street, just by Westbourne, by College Street, got there. Remember Miss Stanley?
Yeah.
And he organized to get me to play for Superstars. He applied to the Commissioner of Police because, you can't just be in the force and play for anybody just like that. You gotta get permission. And the commissioner gave permission, but he gave permission on my own pains and perils. If anything happened to me, I would be responsible. The club would be responsible. They would not be taking any responsibility. You know, as a police officer, you get medical treatment and so on. So,
right.
So I was basically the first known insured footballer in the St. Kitts.
The league ain't professional, but you already got insurance. I like it.
Yeah.
Kevon. Oh, I think Kevon actually froze my colleague overseas. But you know, it's always, I think, interesting for people who have not had the privilege of representing their country to really understand the feelings of pride that goes along with that. How did that affect you? You know, being able to represent your country in some of these tournaments and on so many of these teams over so many years.
Yeah, I got into the Combined Islands cricket team in 1980, and that was the stepping stone, the real move towards higher heights. I went to Dominica for the trials. I did not make the team up front, but then I played for the Geddes Grant, which was the one-day tournament. I played in that for the Leeward Islands against Barbados, and I made 65. And then it was myself and Enoch Lewis who had opening that match. The 4-day game was supposed to be played the following day. No, 2 days after.
Mm-hmm.
So I came back home, went back to work, and the management of the Combined Islands requested from the commissioner that I be returned to Barbados to take part in the game because Enoch Lewis took sick.
Oh, wow.
And I had to reach Barbados the same day of the match. I reached late because I had to go to Antigua overnight.
Oh.
And then the first flight in the morning, they took me down, all the way down to St. Lucia. And back, no, from St. Lucia to St. Vincent, all the way down the chain to St. Vincent, and then back to
Barbados.
No, back to St. Lucia before we go across. I said, well, if I had known it was this, they could have left me in St. Lucia and let them go down and come back and take me across. But then, while I was leaving St. Lucia, I saw a gentleman came on the plane with a bat. So I assumed that he was somebody who was either going home or going over to Barbados. And I didn't ask him anything, but we went through customs and immigration. He was ahead of me in the line. And when he got outside customs, he indicated to them that he come to the dispatcher. He came to play in the game Barbados versus Combined Islands. So
you arrival and you reach and they play at the same time.
But we didn't know, and he was not really in the team.
Oh.
He came across as a substitute. He was the person who would be substituting in the case. Since the Enoch was sick, they had to bring in somebody, so they used somebody from the closest venue, which was St. Lucia. And he went out to the dispatcher and tell the dispatcher that he come for the game. And the dispatcher put him in a taxi and sent him to the grounds. So when I came outside, I introduced myself as Luther Kelly and said, Luther Kelly? The dispatcher said, Luther Kelly? Luther Kelly done gone. So I said, no, I'm Luther Kelly. He said, let me call Kensington. And he made a telephone call. They tell him put me in a taxi, let me pay the taxi, and they will reimburse me when I reach down. The first thing I saw when I reached, the first thing that happened that amazed me was that traveling to Barbados before, we didn't come down the highway. The taxi man, as soon as he get out of the airport, he turned right and start going towards some cane tracks. Just like how we got with cane fields.
Right.
So I tell him, boss, I'm going to Kensington. He said, yeah. He said, God blind you, man, you expect to go down the highway? If you go down the highway, you're not going to reach in time. But then I settled down and I went all the way. When I reached to Kensington Oval, the first ball, as I entered in the gate, the first ball I saw was Malcolm Marshall bowling to Lockhart Sebastian. And it was a short pitch delivery. I saw Lockhart Sebastian shape to hook and then turn his head. And I could have stayed at the gate and hear the cup on his head.
Oh.
So I started to get a little timid because
a little anxious now.
Yeah, in the one-day game, the head groundsman, he used to be named, they used to call him Boo. He spoke to me after my innings and said, you look good, but we're going to see when you get onto the test pitch. So that the first thing come back to my mind when after I see that. I work out that, well, really and truly, the test pitch must be playing faster. So I went in, introduced myself to the room attendant. Viv Richards was the captain. He came to me, he asked me, Lutz, how was your flight? I said, well, it was terrible because I had to go all the way down to St. Vincent and back to St. Lucia before we come across to
Island hopping by.
Yeah. And he asked me if I had anything to eat. Well, I had to tell him no because I left the hotel in Antigua after 5 in the morning in order for me to get the first flight. And the kitchen was not open for me to get breakfast. So we've organized with the room attendant for me to get something to eat. They asked me what I want, and then just bring something, man. And the man asked me, you eat flying fish? I said, well, no problem. Fish is fish. I eat a lot of fish. And, well, before I get settled down, Viv came back to me and said, Lutz, Lockhart said he want to come out, so pad up. I had on a blue jack shirt and a black pants. And I just get to my gear bag, took out my gears, and start padding up over my black pants. Viv came and said, Lutz, what happened to you? We don't play cricket in them clothes. I said, I'm padding up. He said, no, but we don't play cricket in those clothes. You tell me pad up. I said, Lord, I really had a scare at that time. Yeah. And then before I get changed properly, Lockhart out. So I had to go down.
Up on deck now.
Yeah. I'm going on the field and completing my padding up. While I was padding up, when I was dressing, the guys was putting on my pads while I'm dressing, and my feet was wobbly. But instead of me allowing them to realize that I'm trembling, I was just flexing my knees.
You just keep kept moving. You kept moving.
And then when I got out there, it was Joel Garner would bowl the first ball to me. So I was looking for extra pace because of what I heard from the groundsman. And when I look, I see the ball just coming, and I just casually played at it. It touched the bat, went to the keeper dropped it. So I was going to have a real bad initiation because...
So you're almost out for duck?
I would have been out for duck. And then I realized that the ball wasn't so fast, but he bowled me a bouncer when I had up 6.
Mm-hmm.
The ball was high, and I jumping up to play it. And then Sheldon Williams from St. Kitts was the person who opened the inning because he was the wicketkeeper, and after I didn't show up on time, he opened with Sebastian.
Okay.
So he came down to me and he said, Luther, what happened to you? It's cricket you playing, you know. So I said, is there nothing bigger than us? So I said, all right. He tell me, man, Sheldon can bat better than me. And Sheldon tell me, look, the next time you get your bat on the ball, where will you go? We go for a single. And you know, he just trained and so on. So
right.
Ghana watching him, and we get hit the next ball, my boy, Ghana bowled me a full toss, and I hit it straight to Desmond Haynes at short extra cover. And we gone for the single. And Ghana come and he bowled a bouncer. And before the ball reached Sheldon good, Sheldon done signaling me, see the ball over your head, you can't do nothing. You can't interfere with that. So I just settled on from there, and then it was, I just tell myself, Sheldon can bat better than me. And I start to play normal.
You settle in now?
Settle in. Start to play my usual shots. I remember when we came back from Barbados, we were in Antigua with a guy who used to do some clips. He used to tape Sheldon innings. And he had a cassette with me with my commentary. And I remember one part especially, I remember he had a part when Tony Cozier was commentating, and he said, in comes Sylvester Clark to bowl salute to Kelly, and this one shot outside the arse stump, and he had a shot. I saw a spot. It was the ball. It's a swizzling square cut for 4. And you know, I had that tape there for a few years. I loaned it to my brother, and I lost it.
You didn't get it back yet?
Up to now, I may get it back. But to tell you the truth, my cricket career was outstanding to me. I eventually get up into the ratings, where people was thinking that I was rapping on the West Indies door. But because of Desmond Haynes and Gordon Greenwich, those were just keeping me up because you couldn't vex for not getting a game because they were there.
Right.
I just continue playing my cricket. I get so established that the Melbourne Cricket Club in Jamaica, that's the club that Mikey Holding plays for. They organized, they had just get a grounds, and they organized a competition when they invite people from outside, and they invited me, and they put me to open with George Powell. George Powell was a guy who played for Jamaica, who was a flyer. He beat ball similar. So they put the 2 of us to open against Michael Holding and Andy Roberts.
Wow.
At the end of the day, he made 26. I made 101 not out.
Wow.
And from there, I was an honorary member of Melbourne Cricket Club. So every year I used to go down to Jamaica to participate in the festival.
Right.
And to tell you the truth, I really enjoy my
cricket days.
Cricket. I enjoy cricket more so because I traveled to every cricketing territory in the West Indies to play cricket.
Wow.
In football, it was just the Leeward Islands. So the farthest you reach is Guadeloupe.
Right. But I think that it's important for us to recognize what you were doing and some of the other sportsmen of that time, because we've now seen how what you have done have kind of paved the way for cricketers coming up after you. I think it's important when we have these examples of success an example, some people like yourself who would have done things that at one time, as much as people might have thought about it and dreamt about it, to see someone actually achieving it and doing it, I think it goes a long way in setting up the upcoming generations for success as well.
Yeah, we had a few persons from St. Kitts who really should have gone on to make the West Indies team.
Wow.
You had Livingston Harris, you had Auckland Hector, you had Victor Eddy, myself, Shonan Williams. Shonan Williams wicket-keep for the President 11 with Dujan feeling in slips.
Wow.
So he was a step in front of Dujan, but he just, I don't know if it's the bigger stage.
Yeah.
You know, he got some people can step up.
Yeah. Rise to the occasion. But I mean, there's always the talk about the big island, small island thing that was
insularity.
Yeah, that was part of the conversation then. But I don't think that, based on what you and others would have done, that it would have been possible for real cricket fans to deny the talent that you guys had and that we produced here in St. Kitts.
I was given a book that Wes Pereiro wrote, where he had a paragraph talking about me. As he talked about the persons who from St. Kitts, even though nobody made the West Indies team, there were certainly persons who could have made the West Indies team. And he had a whole paragraph with that. And up to now, I got a book. I can't know the book because I don't look for children now, so I can't say leave it to my children then, but...
Yeah. So, I mean, it's obvious that you and so many others, your talent had been recognized. And again, I mean, I wish we could stay here and trade stories. Perhaps me and you got to link up sometime and have a talk about it, because I love hearing about these experiences and these stories. But unfortunately, we can't stay here all day.
Just one more thing I will
For sure.
When I was playing for Combine Islands and Leeward Islands, when I got to 2,000 runs, I was the only batsman that reached 2,000 runs and never scored a century. So you'd realize that there was consistency.
Right.
I didn't get the century, but I did get one in the end in Jamaica, playing against New Zealand. I made 132.
And that's playing against New Zealand?
Playing against New Zealand, and the team beat the West Indies. And people were saying that would have been a good time for me to get in, because they gave Carlisle best. Well, Wes Pereiro told me, when I go back to St. Kitts, don't stop practicing, because most likely they will give me another try.
Mm-hmm.
On the board 11, because I was playing for the Shellowers 11, that's the team that pick yourself. The two opening batsmen with the most runs,
right.
Number 3, number 4, and then they branch off into the other areas of the cricket.
Okay.
And was me and Carly Best open, and the board 11, they had Clayton Lambert from Guyana. The board 11 was playing against New Zealand in Guyana, and he was also rapping on the West Indies.
Right.
So
yeah, that's how it is
he
sometimes.
eventually got in, and they used Carly Best to be the captain.
Okay.
So that means I'm out.
Right.
But I didn't let that stop me. I continued to play, and while I was actually playing cricket, I started to study to be a coach and an umpire.
Right.
I am fully qualified as a coach and as an umpire. and I'm presently now the president of the St. Kitts Cricket Umpires Association. So I'm still putting in my little piece.
And still contributing to the sport right here in St. Kitts.
Yes.
Man, it's been a real pleasure talking to you about your career, about how you really represented St. Kitts and became such an example for young cricketers coming up. It's important that we recognize it, because I think some people may not, fully understand the contributions. And I just want to say, from us here at ILNT, like, thanks for representing us in the way you did for so many years. And we're looking forward to him hearing about the contributions you're still making as the president of the Umpires Association right here. But we're going to have to bid you adieu. People have been listening, been with us from 8 o'clock this morning, and we want to tell everyone thank you so much for being a part of the conversation. We're a little over time, so we're going to make this quick. The Duke, and I'm going to leave up his thing just so everybody could see that he in here. Because the Duke decided to just leave me hanging. He know Jade in here and he gone about his business. That guy. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Those of you who tuned in on Facebook, on YouTube, and WINNmedia SKN. Those of you who have been liking us on Instagram and ILNT SKN, thank you so much. Like, share, subscribe. All you guys who listen to us on the FM dial, 98.9 Win FM, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. But at this point, we're gonna have to go. It's Thursday, guys. Be safe. Deal with people with love and grace, and we're going to see you back here tomorrow. But remember, before we go, that you can't be everybody's cup of tea, because you is not a mug. See you guys tomorrow right here.
All right, thank you for inviting me.
Horsford's Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less